During one of the shows, we did the opening night, and we got a decent review somewhere, Guardian, Independent. They were the only papers who took any notice of us at all. But they said, you know, what happened to the biting satire? And the Jeremy-Thorpe trial was on, I think, or just finished. And Peter went right home that afternoon and wrote a piece.
In 1979, the Liberal leader Jeremy Thorpe made headlines in a libel suit involving a man called Norman Scott. Scott's case was that Thorpe had hired a hitman to murder him, but Scott's dog was shot instead. Millions followed every revelation.
When it came to court, Norman Scott announced to an astonished judge and an astonished press gallery that he had been the lover of Jeremy Thorpe, the splendid, dashing old Etonian leader of the Liberal Party, who was married to the ex-wife of the Earl of Harwood, the Queen's cousin, and was as fabulously establishment as you can get, and there had been no hint that had reached the public's ears that Jeremy Thorpe might not be as other girls. And this rather hysterical figure, Norman Scott, claimed that it was a plot to have him killed because he might tell the world that he was Jeremy Thorpe's lover. And it all went to trial. Jeremy Thorpe sued and so on.
The trial ended with the judge advising the jury to return a verdict of not guilty, and thereby clearing Thorpe's name.
The judge had come out with this outrageously biased direction to the jury about how they ought to vote. And Peter had written this sketch and performed it that night. And it was really like kind of live theatre, live comment on something political that was actually happening that day.
In the last few weeks, we've all heard some pretty extraordinary allegations being made about one of the prettiest, about one of the most distinguished politicians ever to rise to high office in this country, or not. Over the evidence of the so-called hitman, Mr. Olivia Newton-John, I prefer to draw a discreet veil. He is, as we know, a man with a criminal past, but no criminal future. He is a piece of ordure, a piece of excrement, unable to carry out a simple murder plot without cocking the whole thing up. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you are now to retire, as indeed should I. You are now to retire, carefully to consider your verdict of not guilty.
And of course, looking back at that piece, the ridicule that Peter was heaping on this judge's biased summing up in favour of a politician, it still seems relevant in the wake of the Hutton report.
The sketch became such a hit, it was immediately published in Private Eye, and even released as a single.
It's just fantastic how judges still have this extraordinary propensity to believe someone because they have an old Etonian tie, because they're a peer of the realm, or because they are the power, the establishment. And, of course, apart from anything else, it introduced to the world fantastic epithets and euphemisms for acts of gay love.
I remember Peter said to us just before he went on, I just want one more euphemism for homosexual. I got them all, any new ones, and we all sort of tried them all. And then Billy Connolly came up and said, well, in Glasgow there is a phrase called the player of the pink oboe. And, boom, it was time for the sketch to go. Peter goes on, and halfway through it,
we have been forced to listen to the testimony of Mr. Norma St. John Scott. Scrounger, parasite, pervert, a worm, a self-confessed player of the pink oboe.
And Peter, in the time he got from the wings to the sketch, had thrown in self-confessed, which I thought really made Claire of the pink oboe work.